Everybody, my name is Kevin Pasternak. I'm the National Sales Manager for Prophesy Software. We are a division of Excelos Corporation, and I'll be presenting to you today the Excelos One Optimized solution and going through that with you. Before we started with going through the actual solution, I would like to give you a background on Excelos, a little bit of a corporate overview for those who are not familiar with the company. We are a global provider of logistics software, supply chain management software. The company was founded about 4 years ago, headquartered in Colorado Springs, Colorado. We currently have divisions located in the GTA, Plymouth, Michigan, right outside of Detroit, Columbus, Ohio. I am in our Bloomfield, Connecticut office, and 2 weeks ago we acquired another transportation management software company that also is located in the Greater Toronto area called Virtual Dispatch. We all have about 3,500 enterprise customers, and you can certainly visit us on the web at www.excelos.com. Some of the acquisitions that Excelos has made is obviously Prophesy, FreightLogix, which is a TL transportation management software company and also used in large volume brokerage operations. Radio Beacon, a warehouse management application. Maximum Data, which is a data collection product that seamlessly integrates to the Microsoft Dynamics accounting product, and which is a 3PL, and vSync, which are our EDI division. Current customers in 17 countries throughout the globe. Like I said, there's about 200 plus employees, and we continue to grow organically and through acquisition. We like to think we're large enough to be stable, but certainly small enough to be personal. Some customers that you may be familiar with, Organic Valley, Gold Medal Flour, Ocean Garden, Samuel Adams Beer Company out of the Boston area that are currently using the Excelos One Optimized product. One particular I'd like to just take a minute to talk about today is Piggly of North Carolina. And about a year and a half ago, Piggly went out looking for a load optimization and routing program. They did a private fleet of around 75 to 80 vehicles. They wanted to streamline their delivery operation to their stores. They were running tech routes, and they had trucks that were crossing each other's patterns, etc. They went to a number of solutions. They ultimately chose the Excelos One Optimized as their solution, and immediately saw a dramatic reduction in miles, reduction in equipment required, and you can learn more about that right on our website, mile.com,
Here we go.
customer successes. It's specifically about Excelos One Optimized. And Excelos One Optimized is designed to integrate with your existing ERP, WMS system, TMS system, or you can also manually just key orders into the Excelos One Optimized, or you can go to a spreadsheet and upload that spreadsheet into the program, so it's extremely flexible. We can account your specific business rules, constraints, we'll talk about those a little bit more, and apply those, and then we will create full truckloads, multi-stop truckloads. There's ones where if you want to leave some commodities off and ship them LTL, if you do ship LTL, where you can do that as well. Most customers realize a savings of anywhere from 10 to 20% reduction in their overall transportation costs. You can count from one or more distribution center. In fact, today you can also manage inbound shipments. So recently added the ability to do multi-pick, multi-drop scenarios. There are a couple of different algorithms that you can actually apply. One would be to minimize miles, maximize utilization, or you are doing rating in the program and both LTL rating as well as truckload rating, and you want a carrier selection, you can do what's called least cost loading, where we'll get an order or shipment and based on cost make a decision either to ship this LTL or is it to make a shipment a part of a multi-stop truckload. So business rules and constraints that we will look at: schedules, appointment times, load times, unload times, fixed, both variable codes, variable fleet sizes. Even if asset operation, we can certainly look at your fleet. If an asset operation or you don't have assets of your own, you use outside carriers, we will create a fictitious fleet. If you do a combination of both, well, we can certainly handle that as well. Documentation of the product, go through and decide, is it better to zone things or not zone load building. We can use multiple units to build on, and they're user definable. And we developed our first load building product back in 1989. It was actually a PC-based system as well. Developed a product for a company called Advo Systems out of Windsor, Connecticut, that was in the direct mail or in the mail shipping business. And back then, overnight to run a system that it now takes minutes to build. And those were very rigid, those systems, as far as how many units you could build on or what the units were. And today you can basically define anything. If you want to build on weight pallets, pieces, with anything, you can define those and define what the dimensions are within the truck capacity that you're hauling. We can deal with detailed commodity information, and of course, the load that we do build are going to adhere to DOT regulations. This is designed to be used in a local, regional, as well as over-the-road operation. As I talked about, it can be used in private fleets, it can be used in dedicated fleets, it can be used for outside carriers, it can be used in a combination of all three. And we can provide, if you choose commercial, turn-by-turn directions to your drivers. Axelis One Optimize has been developed for the last 2.5 years. It was a total rewrite of a organization program we had called Shipper Plus. It is state-of-the-art technology, browser-based application, Microsoft Bing mapping you'll see in the program, Microsoft .NET framework, SQL Server database. And as we go through the product today, you'll notice that it does have the look and feel of Microsoft Office 2007 or 2010 for that matter. As earlier, it can be used as a standalone product, or it can be fully integrated. Integrate your ERP, your WMS, your entry system. Or it can be standalone. You can manually key orders in, or they can be uploaded, as I said, from a spreadsheet. It'll work in intranet, multilingual within the program, localization, and once again, the importing of data as well as data is extremely straightforward in the system and easy to do. Just the industries that we've done work in: food, beverage, horticultural, commodities, steel, aluminum, tires, agricultural, fuel, building suppliers. I mean, limited to those, but certainly those are some of the ones that we're currently working in. So let's now let's take a look at the product itself.
Now I told you can have it now.
This sort of knows that if you're on a live, I haven't muted anything. So if you're gonna have conversations in the background, if you could do me a favor and just mute your phone, that would be wonderful. What we'll do is we're gonna go through the Axelis One Optimize on a relatively high level today. Certainly, if you would like more information or like a person one-on-one demonstration, we certainly arrange that and look at your specific needs, and that's where we will certainly go into much more detail in the program, a lot of the background. But today what I'm going to do is we're going to look at orders that have already been entered into the system, and those orders we're going to combine into shipments. And the difference between an order and a shipment is if you have multiple orders in the system that are going to the same destination and like or similar delivery time window requirement, we consolidate those orders together to make sure that they go on the same truck. And those shipments, and we'll turn shipments into either a full truckload, a multi-stop truckload, or depending on how you're using the program, it could also end up going as an LTL shipment. I'll specifically go into the rating in the program today. You'll see fields that talk about rating both LTL as well as truckload. But for you that are interested in rating, if you have any questions at the end, we can certainly talk about it. Or if you'd like to schedule, as I said, a personal demonstration on the product, we can certainly arrange that and go into much more detail on the rating. So what we're looking at here are orders. And the orders that we're going to work with today are all orders coming out of our Chicago or our Midwest DC. Let's take a look at one order. And what I did is I just double-clicked order 006, and you can see the order details. Now, all the fields are not filled in on this particular order. I didn't bring in all of the information and populate every field, but you should get a real idea of the order information that we can take in. You've got a unique order number. You've got either an earliest pick time when the order can be picked, a latest drop time when it has to be delivered, or you can specific appointment time. Shipping location. In this case, it's coming out of our Chicago distribution center. Where's it to? This particular one is going to Ace Hardware Supply in Albany, New York. Contact there. We can have time windows. Time windows can be specific to a specific location, or you can use default time windows. And once again, the system is extremely flexible in setting up those time windows. If you want to bring in any purchase order information or PO or destination PO information or bill to information, we can do that as well. As far as the goods or commodities that you're hauling, on the order that we're working with today, I didn't bring in any specific goods ID, but what I bring in is just some basic information about the order. And then you can see that this particular order, 006, a weight of 10,000 pounds, has 800 cube pallets, and there's no cases on here. So this is an order in the system. If we're using the rating engine, we could have rated this on import, both for LTL as well as truckload. We could have set up, depending on how we set our tariffs up, it can look for least cost, or it can look for preferred carrier in a specific lane. On rating, for LTL rating, you can certainly set up LTL rates in the system, or we have integration available to SMC, Southern Motor Carriers, to any of the tariffs that they have. So whether there's a light tariff or any one of the hundreds of other tariffs that SMC maintains, you access those tariffs. Close that order. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do our first level of consolidation. So we're going to consolidate orders into shipments. So I'm going to work with my orders out of the Midwest DC. As far as dates, I'm going to ignore my dates just because of my sample data. And in consolidation options, I'm going to tell the system to adhere to what I've defined in my system as my default truck fleet, which has capacities of approximately 42,000 pounds, 20 some odd skids, X number of cases. If there are any shipments that are already made, I'm telling it to only make new shipments. I'm telling the system to use a 15-minute unload time per shipment. I'm not going to be concerned, as I talked about, with rating, so let's go ahead and consolidate now. And what the system did is it found there were 39 orders coming out of our distribution center in Chicago. It consolidated those 39 orders down into 24 shipments. So obviously there were multiple orders in the system that were going to the same location that had similar delivery time window requirements, so they got consolidated together. So we see now that these are our shipments in the system. And let's go ahead and take a look at this shipment here. We can see the shipment going to Dover, Delaware. There's 4 orders on this particular shipment. So we double click, it will drop down into the shipment screen. It's very similar to the order detail screen that we looked at just a couple minutes ago. We have a shipment ID instead of an order ID. We can still see our earliest pick, our late drop, which came obviously from our orders that got consolidated. Obviously, these were all coming out of the same distribution center in Chicago. They were going to the same location, Dover Hardware in Dover, Delaware. Down here under where the order information, we can see the 4 orders, order 16, 19, 18, and 17, that got consolidated on this shipment. And we were like one was 9,500 pounds, 300 cubes, 6 skids, 12 pounds, 8,000 pounds, 10,000 pounds. Those 4 orders got consolidated together to make this one shipment. And now a consolidated shipment where there's 28,700 pounds, 1,125 cube, and 18 pallets. Because we chose not to use rating, it didn't do any rating as far as LTL or truckload. So this is going to ensure that orders are going to the same customer, get put together. If you don't, in your system, you already have a consolidation where you don't have multiple orders going to the same customer, but you have what we call shipments already built. You could skip the entire order process and just work with shipments, and shipments can become a full truckload, part of a multi-stop truckload, or once again, depending on how you're doing your load building, go as an LTL shipment. So what we do now is we're going to take shipments and we are going to build full and or multi-stop truckloads. Click on Build Loads now. We're only working for loads, once again, out of our Chicago distribution center. As far as dates, I'm going to ignore dates again, once again, because of my sample data. But I could specify the specific time that these orders are available for shipment from my distribution center. As far as my load building options, once again, we're not going to deal with rating. I could have the system automatically generate driving directions. Driving directions can come from the Prophesy mileage and routing system. It can come from integration to PC Mileage Web Services. We can also use Map2It's a commercial database for commercial turn-by-turn directions that will look at a 53102 trailer. In this case, I'm telling the system to put a max of 10 stops per load. Don't exceed that, and that's user definable. I want one-way loads today. I could build round trip, or I could use fleet define, meaning I could have certain trucks in my fleet that are one way, and I could have some fleets that are round trip. System to use in this case, once again, a 15-minute time. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on build here, and the system is going to go out. It's going to look at those 20 shipments, which it just did. It passed 24 shipments into the load builder. It will do 8 optimization steps, meaning swapping shipments between different loads after it grouped them. You can the initial came up with about 8,500 miles. After it did all those swaps, it reduced it down to about 6,279 miles. It built 8 loads, and all 24 shipments that we know were available were loaded onto a truckload. So go ahead and close. And these are the loads that we've actually built. And if we want to just take a look at, let's say one of these loads, let's look at this load here, which is finaling in Petersburg, Virginia. Once again, it's coming out of Chicago. Being in Richmond, o'clock in the morning, it's got the 15-minute unload. Then to 500 Willow Street in Richmond, 15-minute unload, and then driving down to Petersburg, Virginia, where the load terminates. And you can see the different miles here. We can also see the date for the truck, and we can see what's being delivered to each station. If we want to get any ship detail, order detail, we can click here, and we can, if we wanted to go right the actual order, we could double-click and go right into that to write down. We can see the total miles, the time, the deadhead miles, where if we were deadheading back from the final destination, if we needed to come back from the final destination directly back to the origin, it gives that information as well. Once, because we didn't use the rating, it didn't choose a carrier, and it didn't rate it. We'll close it. And now go ahead and take a look at the loads that were built. And earlier, we do use the Bing mapping. We are a very big Microsoft partner. And as these loads come up, you're going to see each load is going to show up on the map, the Bing maps. And just scroll here in the middle a bit. I'm going to go ahead and select the next load, 1055. So you can now see loads on there. And if I take my cursor and hover over the push pin, see the information about what's going to that stop, where this order is going to Fredericksburg Supply, Fredericksburg, Virginia. You can see it's order number 20 being dropped, 4,900 pounds, 600 cube, and 2 skids. And the next one. Our node. Interesting one because you can see this is a full truckload, 40,000 pounds, going right to Albany. And off these original ones, let's uncheck those now. And if we want to, we can look at each location on here and add them one at a time. So flexibility here and how you look at the information on the map, what information you actually see. We can see load coming out of Chicago going up to New Franklin, Wisconsin, and the final 161, which is coming over to Kansas City, Missouri, before that St. Joseph's, Missouri. The last item that I do want to look at within the program is what we call our traffic manager. Traffic manager is used for last-minute changes, for additions, for deletions, for moving items between one load and the other load. Because most people don't use a black box type load building solution where you just take those 39 orders, dump them into a solution, let it hit a button and let it go ahead and build the shipments. Now let it build the loads and just, okay, boom, here are the results out on a report. Most people do want to be able to view these loads and see them on a map as we looked at them today. They also would like to make changes and move them from one load possibly to another load. So let's say, excuse me, for instance, we wanted to take this order number 34 and we would take it off of load 1056 and move it on to 1057. Well, we have a couple choices. We could either click, drag, and just pull it off and just drop it on the bottom, and then the system will automatically go ahead and resynchronize load 106. And then I wanted to take this order, and maybe this got pulled off because it wasn't ready to go. We wanted to leave it. We were going to use it with our next data set that came in and put it onto another truck later on. Or we want to move it onto another truck here. So if I want to take 34 and drag it up, I want to put it onto 107, I can just drop it on load 1057. The system will ask me, do I want to manually insert this order, or do I want to have the system automatically insert it? And I'm just going to have the system automatically go ahead and look and see where it should go. And see it automatically made it the first stop on load 157. So you can manage the shipments that are on loads. You can take shipments off. You can leave off. You could add them later. You can actually see over here I've got a number of additional orders that are still in my system. These can be coming from different distribution centers. But if I had some additional orders that were in here even from my Chicago distribution center, at this point, if I wanted to go ahead and add those to a load, I could do that. There are standard reports that are in the system. We have a load detail report. Just take a look at a detail report just for a single load instead of for all of the loads. And I'll just make that a little bit bigger so you can see it there. You can see that this is telling us our load number, our origin, where we're coming from, when we're going to depart, our final destination, the total time, miles, weight, and cube that's on the load, and then each of the stops on the load. Out of Chicago, going to the Bagash Company in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and then going at the New Franken Company in New Franken, Wisconsin. We load summary report. We'll look at the same load in a summary rather than detail. And as you can see, we're just not seeing as much detail about each of those stops, about what's going. It's just a summary report. There's a report writer that's built into the program, so if you do want to write custom reports, you can write those yourself, and they native right to the application. Once you've built your loads, what do you want to do with that? Do you want to export it? Do you want to export it to your WMS for picking purposes? Well, we have integration that can be done. Currently with the Excelos One WMS, the product is seamlessly integrated to that, so the orders would go right back to WMS and they could be picked. If you have another WMS, we can certainly integrate to that. We can also just export loads in an Excel spreadsheet format, which you can use for whatever purposes you'd like to use those for. Just going over a couple of things that we've talked about. ROI. With dedication, we can get you up, get you running in an extremely quick period of time. You're talking, days, not weeks or months that it takes people to get up and running on other products, and you will see a savings of 10 to 20%. That's what our customers see today. One talk a lot about was what-if scenarios. When you're building loads, it's difficult to build loads and then move things around and rebuild them and then take something off and add something to it, like through the traffic manager. Where with Excelos One Optimize, you can easily do your what-if scenarios, break down, rebuild, break down, rebuild. If you're running maybe some sample data for somebody, for a new customer you're looking at, or looking at adding some new locations that you're delivering to, and you just want to do some quick what-ifs, those are very easy to do. And of course, your business rules. We have incredible flexibility with how you do business, so you can easily work those things into the program. At this point, I'd like to open it up to any questions that anybody may have on I may have covered, or maybe something that I didn't talk about today that you have a question on. Questions, please?
I have a question on. A question on integrating it with our own database. How does it work? Do we have to export a file, or is it automatic, or how does that all break down?
There's an import utility in the program, and you can manually import data on a batch basis, or that can be set up through integration to automatically look for orders at specific intervals and then bring the information in automatically. So it's something we can work with you on that either way, whatever in your particular situation.
Hi, Kevin. If a location requires a specific type of equipment in order to make a delivery, can the system handle that?
It's a very good question. If let's say you might be running, whether it's a specific location where you have to get in there with a 26-foot pup, or maybe it's a straight truck versus a 53-foot trailer, you can set up equipment codes in the system. In addition to that, you may have customers that some are running refrigerated versus dry, and you can use equipment codes and other codes in the system to make sure that if something needs to be a refrigerated truck, it doesn't get put onto a dry truck. But absolutely, equipment can be used a number of different ways in the system. It's a very good question. Sorry I didn't talk about that in the presentation.
No problem.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Well, I certainly would like to thank all of you for attending today's presentation. Excelos One Optimize. If you would like to learn more about the product, on one presentation, go much more in detail into the product and talk about your specific needs, you can contact me directly, or many of you may have talked to Eric Smith or Sean Meacham out of our Colorado office. I'm sure that they will be following up with you as well. My contact information, as you see, is right there. You can contact me, and we can schedule a one-on-one presentation for you. Once again, thank you very much, and it's been a pleasure presenting the Excelos One Optimize for you today. Have a great day, everybody.